All right, so let's actually make a provider so we don't have to provide a default value that's just a module level cache, but actually something that lives in state so that we can control it a little bit better. So I'm going to create a function right here called Pokemon Cache Provider. This is going to accept children as props, and this is going to return the Pokemon Resource Cache Context Provider. We'll render the children in there, and then we'll just come down here and wrap our entire app in this provider. And actually the easiest way to do this is not wrap this app, but I'm going to make a new app called app with provider. And this is going to return our Pokemon Cache Provider with the app as a child. And I'm going to switch our export default to that app with provider. Sweet. So now we're rendering our context provider, and we're going to set a value here to our get Pokemon resource. Okay, so that's our get Pokemon resource function. We no longer need that. And everything should actually work exactly as it was before. That will not change. But now let's move this into our function along with the Pokemon resource cache. So we'll move that all in here. And now we don't want to just redeclare an object every time this is rendered. Instead, we want to keep this object consistent through renders. And I'm going to just call this our cache. We'll say React use ref is our object. So now it's going to be consistent through renders. And then we want this to be a stable function because remember, it is being used in a dependency list here. So I'm going to reassign this to a function that we get back from React use callback to keep that stable. And let's just make that arrow function here so we get some proper syntax. And then we do need to specify a dependency list. We'll update this to just be our regular cache. And then we should be off to the races here. So here we got Pikachu. Oh, and it looks like I forgot, when you make a ref, this no longer is the cache object itself, but an object that has a current property. So let's go ahead and use that current property. There we go. So now that should work. Ta-da! And it's hanging out in our cache. Good stuff. And now that we have everything inside of a React component, we can now actually start interacting with this cache with the React lifecycles. So in review, all that we did here was we took this get Pokemon resource from outside at the module level and put it inside a Pokemon cache provider, and we provided it as the value to this provider right here. We also needed to wrap our app inside of the Pokemon cache provider so that when it consumes that context value with use Pokemon resource cache, it has that value provided to it by the Pokemon cache provider, which is ultimately rendering that context provider with that value. And we also had to change this get Pokemon resource to a React use callback function so that it was stable through renders so we can include it in our dependency array here.